남묘호랭개교 남묘호랭개교 남묘호랭개교. Addiction is often described as a problem of behavior. People are told to stop using substances, chemicals, to avoid your triggers, change your environment, or manage your cravings. While these approaches provide support, they do not always address the deeper reality of addiction. At its deepest level, addiction is the experience of a divided self. Many people living with addiction experience an inner conflict. One part of them longs for dignity, for clarity, connection, and a meaningful life. Another part continues to move this towards destructive habits that undermine these very desires. Sun Lotus Recovery understands addiction as this condition of the divided self, like two people living in one body. Recovery is therefore not merely a matter of controlling behavior. It is the work of healing the division within life itself. This path of transformation is called the inner way. Within addiction, there are two opposing conditions within the same life, two forces within the same life: the addicted self and the true self. The addicted self develops through repeated patterns of craving, escape, and temporary relief, using. Often, these patterns begin as an attempt to cope with your pain, your trauma, or fear, or any sort of emotional suffering. Suffering is at the root. What begins as a means of escape gradually becomes a habit, and the habit gradually becomes your identity. The addicted self grows through repetition. Each cycle of craving and seeking relief and using strengthens the pattern. And over time, the addictive behavior becomes central to the person's life. Decisions begin to revolve around it. Relationships become shaped by it. Priorities shift towards maintaining it. The addicted self does not remain small. It grows. It expands into every area of life. It consumes time. It consumes energy. It consumes relationships, purpose, and hope. It damages the bonds that sustain life itself and erodes the foundations of any sort of meaning and dignity. And if left unchecked, the addictive self ultimately devours the very life of the person it inhabits. Addiction is progressive. It moves towards increasing domination of the person's life. When the divided self remains unresolved, addiction can lead to isolation, to despair, and ultimately death. This is the tragic trajectory of addiction when the addicted self is allowed to grow without intervention. Yet even when addiction appears overwhelming, another dimension of life remains present. Beneath the suffering and the confusion of addiction, there exists a deeper reality. Within every person, this deeper reality is the true self. The true self is the authentic life within each human being that seeks wisdom, dignity, compassion, growth, peace, and connection. In Buddhist understanding, this deeper life is known as Buddha nature. Buddha nature is the inherent potential within all life for awakening wisdom, courage, and compassion. It exists within every human being, regardless of their circumstances or what they've done in the past. Even when addiction obscures it, this deeper life is never destroyed. The true self remains present beneath the surface of experience, waiting to be discovered, waiting to be revealed. Recovery begins when a person reconnects with this deeper self, this deeper life. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nichiren Social Buddhism expresses the deepest reality of life through the phrase Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo is not simply a chant or a religious formula. It represents the universal and eternal life of Buddhahood itself, the fundamental law through which all phenomena arise and exist. Each part of the phrase expresses an aspect of this reality. Nam means devotion or commitment, or to devote one's life. It means action, it means effort. Myoho is the mystic law, the profound reality underlying all existence. Birth, death, birth, death. Renge is the lotus flower, symbolizing the simultaneity of cause and effect. Karma. Kyo is the sound or the vibration, the living rhythm of the universe, expressing the interconnectedness of all phenomena throughout the cosmos. Kyo expresses the idea that life itself is vibratory. Existence is not static, but constantly unfolding as a rhythm of causes and effects. All phenomena are interconnected within this universal vibration of life. From this perspective, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo is the fundamental source of all phenomena. It is the true self of Buddhahood that is universal and eternal. It is the source of all growth. It is the source of the healing, transformative life force that permeates existence. Within the philosophy of Sun Lotus recovery, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo can therefore be understood as the deepest true self of life. It is life itself. When a person chants Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, they're not calling upon something outside themselves. They are activating the deepest life within their own self, within themselves. And through the vibration of the voice and the action one is taking, one aligns with the fundamental rhythm of existence and awakens the Buddha nature inherent within life. Sun Lotus recovery calls the path of recovery the inner way. The inner way recognizes that lasting recovery cannot be achieved solely through external control or discipline. Behavior changes most deeply when the inner condition, the inner reality of life transforms. Instead of endlessly fighting the addicted self, the inner way focuses on discovering and revealing the true self. Through reflection, support, and spiritual practice, especially the chanting of Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, the individual begins to reconnect with the deeper life that exists within them. Chanting activates the Buddha nature within life. Courage begins to grow, clarity emerges, compassion and dignity return. As the true self grows stronger, the balance within the divided self begins to shift. The addicted self gradually loses its power. The true self begins to emerge as the dominant, guiding center of life. Recovery becomes the process of revealing the true self of Buddhahood within one's own life. Healing from addiction is therefore a profound process of inner transformation. The addicted self may appear powerful, but it is ultimately a condition created by habit, created by karma, created by suffering and confusion. The true self, the life of Buddhahood expressed through Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, is deeper and more fundamental. As you practice the inner way, The inner conflict between the addicted self and the true self begins to vanish, to dissolve. Life becomes less dominated by craving and hunger and obsession, and more guided by wisdom, compassion, courage, and dignity. The divided self begins to heal. The true self begins to guide life. Wholeness begins to return. The return to life. To open. The lotus flower grows from a muddy swamp, yet produces a pure and beautiful bloom. For this reason, it's long symbolized transformation. Just as the lotus grows from the muddy swamp, the struggles and suffering of your addiction can become the very conditions from which awakening emerges. Recovery is not simply about leaving addiction behind. It's about awakening the deepest life within. Through the practice of Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, the true self begins to emerge. The divided self begins to heal, and life gradually becomes whole again. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. All our publications can be found in the link on the channel. And thank you for watching or just listening. Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo.